Here I am on a random Monday night after a big weekend. Um, I meant to go live this week. I really want to get this as consistent as the training has been, which would mean like a daily thing. I don't know. It's hard for me to say, hey, I'm going to go live at 7 or whatever. Sometimes I just feel like popping in and talking about what's going on. And I had a big weekend, and I just put in the summary there that I'm kind of just been hanging on the ballpark, but I feel like it's all about timing with me. And I'm definitely a crammer when it comes to Ironman. And I think a lot of that is because I'm interested in longevity, and not that consistency would take away from that, but in my case, a lot of times I tend to go too hard, or I go hard more often than not. So I try not to put too much volume on my body as I get older. And I'm trying to walk that fine line between being productive and getting faster, at least holding on. I mean, that to me becomes the objective, which is sort of just not get slower kind of thing and feel better. I mean, kind of getting younger as you're getting older sort of thing. And for me, that's why the Ironman, traditional plans a lot of times become, they become overwhelming. And that's one of the things I like to talk about with athletes is like, how do we, back things down? You've been training for a year and a half straight for this race coming up. And I mean, you've got plenty of load and volume on your legs. And now it's all about kind of being fresh. So with me, it's, I'm picking things up and I'm feeling, I don't want to say, I kind of am excited, but now I'm getting kind of impatient too, because I've got basically 4 weeks from yesterday. And, you get to that point where you're just like, all right, let's get this race on. But I've got 2 pretty big weeks left, and then I'll go into taper and, hope it all kind of times out where I feel fresh and ready to go. I think we were talking about on the podcast today, we're talking about this concept of seeing glimpses. It's not like you have to have every 2-hour run or every hour and a half run, really be perfect, but you can have glimpses of like, oh, I just rode 5 hours yesterday and I don't feel too bad here at the end, even though maybe it wasn't your best run. Or how do you feel the next morning? And that's kind of how I judge it. I had a 2-hour run yesterday, and it's probably my longest run since, I don't know. I can't remember. But I think back to like run camp this spring when we did like a 2-hour and 45-minute deal. And I was, we were running up in hills and trails and stuff like that. So I feel like, okay, that's in February, a long time ago. But I don't feel like I've totally lost much of that. So, but anyway, waking up this morning, I got out of bed. I'm like, oh, it's always like, how's this going to feel? And it's not bad, So that's the glimpse that tells me I'm going in the right direction. It doesn't really have anything particular to do with what that workout was yesterday. I mean, as far as like times and things like that, I felt like there was times toward the end of it when I was like, okay, I might be able to. I was trying to, save my legs, or not save them, but like, make sure. My whole goal yesterday with the 2-hour run was basically to run a, like I was running the first loop of the Ironman marathon. How am I going to do that? Like what kind of control am I going to put on this, and what kind of patience and things like that. And when I got done, I was like, I could probably go. I could probably do it again. I wouldn't be looking forward to it, but that day you have to really dig deep and be prepared for that pain and stuff like that. So, like I always say, it's like, why do you want to go through that multiple times, So, but yeah, other than, I guess the cycling was interesting. I had um, I took my new Trek. I'd been riding my old one because I took my new one over to the Trek store here, and I was like, hey, I just sort of like took a tape measure out, measured my old bike, and told the guys, I'm like, hey, can you raise these aero bars and put them at this distance from the middle of the seat or whatever, the front of the seat? I can't even remember. And then they went through this whole process. I had to recable everything, and it was really expensive. And they raised my aero bars because I was talking about it today again on the podcast. It's like, man, yeah, I could be this much lower, or I could be at this place and be really comfortable, or I could be here and just like, fight the whole day. So I'd rather be this comfortable and maybe have like 1/2 or an inch less of aeroness to my body. But anyway, I took it in there and I got it back. I paid for it. It was like $350 for all this cabling and all this, parts and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shit, I didn't even really get fit. So I was kind of hoping that, had my fingers crossed. But anyway, I took it out for the first time on Saturday. I did it on the trainer a little bit and it felt pretty good. And I took it out Saturday and it felt really good. I think it might actually be my best bike fit by accident almost. And so it felt decent. And I found glimpses in there, towards it's weird how, you might not even feel that great till the 3-hour mark sometimes after you've been riding a lot. So I felt like I had it. I felt like I had something. I don't know. It's really always hard to tell. The place I'm riding is it's not, it seems like it should be fast, but it's really doesn't. It's really not. I don't know if it's because it's some of the turns or it's in a park and there's just some weird roads and rough roads. And there is a lot of turns, I guess, in theory, compared to like the Chattanooga course, which is more or less 1, 2, 3 or 4 turns on the loop at max. So that kind of stuff makes a difference. And other than that, I have been trying to stay diligent with my cycling and get some longer rides. And that was probably my 5th 5-hour ride of the year. And that is kind of unique for me. So I'm hoping that pays off. But it's these midweek rides, these trainer rides that are, I think, critical, like just you got to really suck it up and kind of push it for that 1.5 or sometimes 2 hours and really stretch yourself. And then on the weekend, you can kind of work on pacing and just being in the saddle for that long and your hydration and nutrition and stuff like that. So, and with the cycle, I've been swimming a lot, because that's kind of my weakness. I've kind of probably neglected that more than anything this year, but I'm trying to really, really cram study that one. So I don't want to get caught in the slow current. It could be fast, but it could be kind of shut down that day. So I don't even want to risk it. So I just want to get out of that water feeling good and ready to go. Other than that, I've been drinking a shit ton of water, and I always do, and I always tell people to do it. And people are so hot all the time, and I think it's like the simplest. Like there's so many things in life right now that just annoy me, but like if you think about it, drink water. It's like from the day we're born, what does water do? It just cools us off. It cools us down, and we get caught up in all these, electrolyte sugary mixes and all that stuff all the time. And we don't drink water that much anymore. I don't feel like. I feel like so many people are chronically dehydrated. And how can triathletes not be? But we're always so hot. Everybody's so hot. But I swear to God, if you drink 2 glasses of water, like a half hour before you go outside and run, it'll make a hell of a difference. It's unbelievable. But because you may have drank coffee and not drank any water in 18 hours and you wonder why you're hot. So I don't know, man. I think the simple things in life sometimes just get totally overlooked because there's some new crazy perspective out there with a new product or something like that. But water is everything. And we just ignore it. But anyway, so that's where I'm at. This should be saved and put in the hub if you want to check it out. But I'm doing good. I've been really consistent. I think I had my biggest week last week, so I may eclipse that this week, probably if I do my double bike, which I am dreading, but I got to do it. So, all right. Hope you guys are doing good. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always get hold of me. All right. Thanks.